Are you worried about the potential flooding of your Roseville home? Or are you thinking about moving to Roseville and you're kind of curious, like, how does Roseville stand in terms of flood preparedness? Are they experiencing floods? I know right now, at the time of filming this video, we're in January and there's a lot of rain flowing and the creeks are flowing and people are nervous throughout California. Well, in this video, I'm gonna tell you a little story about some of the challenges that Roseville has faced and the steps and the efforts that the city has taken to make an effort to protect their residents. Now, before I get into that, if you haven't ever met me before, you haven't seen any of my videos, then just let me introduce myself really quick. I'm Jeff Goolsby from the Goolsby Group. I actually run a real estate team here in Roseville. We specialize Roseville. I'm a born and raised Roseville guy, and the story that I'm about to tell you actually takes place during my childhood. So it all started in 1986. And actually, in fact, it started prior to that, but in 1986, Roseville experienced a massive flood. A flood that basically affected like 200 structures. So at the time, the city of Roseville had been growing rapidly. It was nearly tripling in population from 1950 to 1980. And because flood maps weren't really established until 1980, many of the buildings that were built in Roseville were built in flood-prone areas. So again, big storm in 1986, over 200 houses or buildings damaged, and the city was faced with just an overwhelming amount of disaster. So they began working on a plan to improve drainage. They started working on a big culvert for Linda Creek, putting some infrastructure together to prevent damage in the future, but they weren't fast enough, and their efforts were put to the test again in 1992 when the city was hit with one of the worst rains in history, and much of the city flooded again. Over 350 homes were damaged that time. In fact, the damage was so substantial and it was such a big deal that President Clinton actually came and visited Roseville. President Clinton was the United States president of the time. He came and visited Roseville. In fact, in the clip somewhere, you'll see him shaking hands with some Roseville residents. Fun fact, my friend, a family friend, is actually there in the clip shaking hands with President Clinton as he got off the plane. And then Clinton actually came to their house and visited their site because they were right next to Linda Creek, which was one of the heavy flooding areas in '92. In response to that massive flood, the city got involved with FEMA, the FEMA Community Rating System, which basically was a system that classified cities based on mapping, regulatory standards, flood prevention, and flood preparedness. And Roseville worked to improve culverts near Dry Creek, Linda Creek, Kirby Creek, parts of Diamond Oaks, and basically just started removing homes from the floodplain. And in some cases, actually physically lifting homes. There was a big project that FEMA got involved with and funded, I believe it was like 75% of the effort, and literally lifted homes that were built in those floodplains. As a result to all of this work, Roseville actually became the first city in the nation to receive a Class 1 safety status with FEMA. They basically became the standard for this status and the standard for safety and managing flood in the entire country. And today, Roseville's residents can be proud to know that the city maintains that Class 1 status, one of the few in the country, let alone in the state. One of the benefits of having Class 1 status with FEMA's CRS system is you get peace of mind in just knowing that your city is safe and it meets the standards of FEMA in terms of flood regulation and control. And then also, you get a discount on your flood insurance. So if you choose to get flood insurance, discounts are likely available because today, Roseville residents can be proud to know that the city actually still maintains that Class 1 status. So really, a huge shout out to Roseville for stepping up, noticing a clear problem, and then taking action to help keep our city safe. In fact, that same friend that I mentioned whose home had flooded near Linda Creek, whose home was at the time 6 feet of water inside their house, has recently moved from the city, but just last year sold their home. Check out their beautiful house here. And by the way, if you're shopping for a property in Roseville because you're not yet a resident, then I hope this video brought some clarity to you and you understand that Roseville is a little bit different than some parts of Sacramento or some parts of the country, and that they are very well protected from floods. And if you're a Roseville resident, I hope this video brought value to you too. Hey, you know, normally I'm not talking about floods. I'm not necessarily a water management guy. I'm a real estate guy, and my mission, my purpose on my team is to help people win at real estate. And if you're thinking about making a move up to this area, you have more questions about the community, or if you live here and you want to know what it would take to buy or sell a property here in Roseville, I'm your guy. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect. My contact information is somewhere in the description below, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.